Good morning and welcome to the Elevate Renatus team call. This is your host, Keely Austin. Today is September 14th. It's Monday, and we get to hear from Michael Huggins. Michael Huggins, he was actually in a place where he and Vanessa were very, very frustrated about 10 years ago before they found Renatus. And Michael was working for he had two jobs. He was working for two auto shops, Jiffy Lube and Sears Auto. He was riding his bicycle to work because he couldn't afford a car at the time and was just drowning in student loan debt, was very frustrated. And today he has just really completely turned around his life through personal development and through this program. He and Vanessa have both obtained millions and millions and millions of dollars through both real estate and through the marketing opportunity in Renatus. And so Michael shares what's working for him with us on Monday mornings. And I'm so very grateful to be here today. Because of Michael, I wouldn't be here. So, or if it weren't for Michael, I wouldn't be here. So thank you, Michael, and good morning, everybody. Good morning, Michael.
Good morning, team. Good morning, Keely. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the call. Let's talk about making money today. I want to go over the compensation plan ins and out. Make sure you guys are clear with that because I got some new folks coming on the line who are already putting people in front of me. They're brand new this week, and they're like, wait, Michael, so if I bring you a person and they buy, how much do I get paid? So let's go over that and make sure that you're clear, because I know that you're clear what you get paid at your job, and that's why you keep showing up every day, but maybe you're not clear what you get paid here at Renatus, and maybe that's why you're not showing up every day. That's my theory anyway. I want you to be able to explain the compensation plan in 5 minutes or in an hour in depth for someone, okay? You have to be able to always, always, always sound sharp as a tack, enthusiastic as hell, and the person of authority. Always. So let's switch over to the screen share. Kiwi, give me permissions. And we're gonna go into a couple slides. These slides are in your Helios. And I will also just pull these up so you guys can have my PowerPoint. Is everyone interested in my PowerPoint? Would you guys like that? Copy link. Come over to here. Chat. All right, good morning. There's the link to the chat, or in the chat for the PowerPoint. So copy that link, send it to yourself, email it to yourself, whatever, and then when you get home, or if you are home, pull it up. There's your slides, and then when someone wants to know what it is, we'll take screenshots on your phone, and you can talk to them while you're standing 6 feet away from them. You can email them, you can text them the screenshots. Please be sure to somewhere in there while you're sending them the screenshots, make sure you're saying some type of disclaimer about results aren't typical, right? We can all do that. I lost 180 pounds on this new plan. Results not typical. Everyone says it. I don't even weigh 180. That'd be some negative pounds. But the point is, always, whenever you have a result, disclaim. Okay. How many of you, real quick, have finished straight line persuasion? Finished it. Awesome. Okay, who else? Let's see, we got some chats going on here. Okay, Lorraine finished, Isaac finished, Bilal, Miri. Charbel. Cam, what's up? Lewis, are you in Tennessee? Bilal finished it twice. Deborah's on number 6. Keely's finishing it today. Sukrit says, left with last 2. Second time listening to it. Awesome. Diana's on the last disc. Okay. So if you would like to participate in the script building conversation tomorrow, you must have it finished. And what I'll do is, Keely, do you still have the link from last week that I sent you?
I save all your links.
Cool.
What link is it?
The link for the Tuesday morning script discussion on on the straight line.
Yes,
Everyone who put that they finished it here in the chat, will you just send them a private chat back with that link? Cool. We had a good discussion last week. Remember the major tenants, the 3 10s. And they are you, the company, and the product. When you're moving down the straight line, if they don't buy, when you ask for the sale, you loop back and you try again. And you move down the line and you loop back and you move down the line and you loop back until finally they buy. You got to get you, the company, and the product up to a 10. The other thing that is a must, you have 4 seconds to establish while you're on the phone 3 things. That 1, you are enthusiastic as hell, that you're sharp, and that you're a person of authority. And we do that with our tonality. It is all done through tonal patterns. Right? You don't say, I'm enthusiastic, I'm sharp, and I'm an authority figure. But your tone, your wording, your pacing all says that. If you don't do it within 4 seconds, you might as well hang up because you screwed it up. Okay. So we're going to, here in the next little bit, have the script prototype, and then we're going to start using it, and then we're going to come back in a week and say, here's what happened when we use the script. We got this far and then this. We got this far and then that. And we're going to just make it better. Enthusiastic as hell, sharp as attack, and a person of authority. When you are on the line, we are closing from the first 4 seconds. We are on the close. And there's a healthy boundary where we can move around the line. They want to talk about your dog, move them back to the line. They want to talk about sailing, move them back to the line. We're moving down the line. They want to go and talk about politics. You say, oh, that's great, but we're going to keep talking about this. And then they want to talk about that, and you say, nope, nope. Oh, now we're here. Great. Time for you to pay. Okay, you're not engaged in la conversation. Okay, if they need a friend, if they're off in this la land and they need a friend, then you didn't do your qualifying correctly. Or you didn't establish yourself as an authority, and then you just got put into friend zone. Nobody likes friend zone. So when we're qualifying, there are 3 qualities that we are looking for someone who is qualified. 3 qualities. They are, 1, they want to do real estate now. Okay, so number one, they have a, how do I want to put this? They have a desire for real estate. Two, they have money. And three, they want to do it now. Okay, we don't want to talk to tire kickers. We don't want to talk to lollygaggers. We don't want to talk to people who are never going to buy. We want to talk to people who are interested in real estate. They have money and they can do it now. Let that sink in for a sec and go back through this week and think of all the people you talk to. How many of them actually qualify? There are some people I talked to where I just had to hang up. That's cool. Our 15 minutes are up. We're doing these LinkedIn conversations, getting to know you. And I went, whoops, I didn't do my qualifying correctly through looking at your profile and, the limited text conversation we had. Whoops, not good enough. Have a great life. And just move on. Everyone's seen a prospector, right? Oh, this is going to be an awesome drawing. Here's my prospector. And he's puffing on a pipe, because back in the day, everyone puffed on pipes. And anyway, he's holding something. I did not think about drawing. I don't know how to draw. He's he's holding something. What is he holding? He's holding a pan. Okay, he's got a little pan in his hand. This is a really awful pan. Okay, and he's hanging out in the river. And what's he doing? He's just looking for teeny little specks and nuggets of gold. He is not trying to turn all the other crap that comes up into gold. He's going through thousands of gallons of water to find a little piece of gold. So when you're qualifying folks, if you see that it's a turd, put it back in the water and keep sifting for the gold. Yeah, everyone knows what I mean when I say a turd? So you're like, I don't want to call my customer a turd. Your customer is a turd if they are not interested in real estate, they don't have money, and they don't want to do it now. They're a turd. They're not a bad person, but it's just something that's not for you right now. Let it go. You don't hold on to your turds. The second you realize there's a turd, you get it out of your life. So same thing with your prospects. They're not bad. They're just not for you for this time. If you need a social hour, you need to talk to a bunch of people for the sake of talking, go on to Meetup and find people to do that. But don't use your business time to talk to turds.
I have a question about turds.
Go for it.
I spoke to a turd on Saturday, and she, from our conversation, is not qualified financially. She's interested and wants to do it. And I have not gone over all of the funding though with her. So is that something that you would consider you wouldn't be able to qualify them until you've gone over the list of funding options? Or is it more of just a thing that you determine based off of conversation and they say based off of what they're saying, just that they don't have money? But what if they don't know that there's something somewhere? Do you know what I mean?
Yes. And I have the tactic for what you're asking, but I wanted to ask you, why didn't you go through that stuff on the phone with them when you had them?
So she's never been to a meeting. So I guess that's kind of a mindset I have. Like she needs to go to a meeting first before going over that information, where I can break that. I guess I could have gone over it with her. It was the first time I've talked to her in about 3 years. She's an old sign, and she called me on accident. So I called her back and we ended up having a conversation. So she'll be at the meetings this week on Wednesday and Thursday.
Okay.
I still invited her and
Guys,
got her booked.
come here.
Okay.
But yeah, maybe I'll go over the funding options with her, but keep it brief and me make my determination after that.
Okay. So I'm sifting, I'm on the phone, I'm looking for my 1, 2, 3, and they say, I don't have any money. I might say, well, wait a minute. So what if I come across an amazing deal where we can, split $50,000? Would you be able to come up with 10 grand to be a part of the deal? Did everybody hear that? They say, I don't have any money. Well, wait a minute. And what I'm doing with my tone is I'm taking it back. Well, wait a minute. Are you telling me that if I found a deal where we could both split $50,000, could you come up with $10,000 to be a part of that deal? If they say yes, you say, great. Now we know they have money. Okay, now if we're talking, and we've already talked about the education, you say, I don't have any money, and say, well, what can you afford on a monthly basis? What can you comfortably afford on a monthly basis? That kind of tone. Right? We're talking about money. We're saying, can you find it for a deal? Because the education is its own deal. What can you comfortably afford on a monthly basis? As soon as someone says $200 or $300 a month, I'm like, all right, we're in. No big deal. If someone says I can afford $100 a month, I go, ooh, what are you doing such that you only have $100 a month to put towards a new career? I mean, if this was a college and you went up to University of Utah and you're like, I can afford $100 a month, but get the hell out of here. We don't take $100 a month. We're a training facility. So that would be, I would be like, well, could you, and then I would push, could you do 200? Now, when you have the correct tonal patterns of sharp as a tack, enthusiastic as hell, and a person with authority, when you're asking these questions, the answers just flow out of them. Yes, I can do this. You know what? I can cut out this. I can do that. I can make this happen. But if you don't have those 3 things established, then you start asking them for money, they're just going to make up whatever.
Michael, I have a question in regards to like what you're saying. If they can't afford it on a monthly basis, would you offer the marketing opportunity to them? Would that be an option as well?
Yeah. For me, it's brought up in the right context. So we're talking, and they're like, well, I don't have any money. And be like, well, that's rare though. Rarely do people not have enough money to get started. But if they do, okay, because it's mostly in their head. Remember, it's that limiting buying belief, and we have to get them through that limiting buying belief. So I would rather work on their limiting buying belief than trying to bring up the marketing. Unless I found them on LinkedIn and they have a sales profile and they're like, yeah, I did solar and I knocked doors and I sold cable and I sold satellite and I sold credit repair and I sold this and that. Man, great, you can sell this too. But for the most part, I would work on their limiting buying beliefs. I'd ask them what they make per year. So if they're making 30, 40, 50 grand a year, they can definitely afford this. Right? Bob Snyder priced it so that anyone can buy it. I think we established on the Super Saturday what a joke Fortune Builders is for their $15,000 program versus our $2,000, and people are still buying theirs. But because they have three things established, they're enthusiastic as hell, they're sharp as a tack, and they're a person of authority in their world. They've done all their qualifying also. So yeah, well, you know, I would ask them, how much do you make on a monthly basis? What can you afford monthly? Like what do you earn? What's your household bring in? You're saying you got a desire for real estate. That's fantastic. You know, there's different kinds of real estate. So to point you in the right direction, one thing that could help me understand is about how much do you bring in a household per year before taxes? Because we want to help you get some of this stuff established with tax strategies, but then also, aren't you looking to have real estate replace that income? So the more you can share with me, the better I can help you design a game plan. And as we spend more time, we're going to make a script that has these things in it. Okay. We'll have these if-then flow charts. If they say this, then you say that, and we'll just keep going. Now, Keely, going back to your conversation, why did she say she didn't have any money?
She has been struggling for the last couple of years to find a job. So I don't really know how I definitely could have been better at asking her more questions, because I don't know exactly what happened or what she's doing to even make money right now. But I know she can't afford Wi-Fi. So anytime she needs internet, she has to go to her complex lobby or go to the library. So she's just in a bad situation where she can't find a job because she doesn't have internet, and she doesn't have internet because she can't find a job, type of thing.
Did you offer her any life advice?
I did. I offered her a couple of books, and I kept telling her that she's hanging around the wrong people. She needs to think differently.
Gotta get your shit together. How many of you have had a personal coach at some point in your life? A business coach, a personal development coach, a spiritual coach, a life coach, a business coach, a relationship coach? Has anyone had at least one coach at some point in their life? Okay. And they shared some pretty cool stuff with you. When you're on the phone with the turd, before you end the call, share with them something from your life coach or whoever that helped you. At least plant that seed with them and then move on. Now you can also share those things with your qualified prospects to help them move through something. Okay, like
you've been my coach, Michael.
Yeah, are you disqualifying the turds, Pete?
Gotta be careful not to polish them.
I know some people are busy polishing their turds, and we're trying to disqualify them. Okay, so here's something that one of my coaches shared with me that I now share with my prospects who are having a trouble making a decision. Now, if we're on the Zoom, I'll just draw it out. If we're in person, I'll draw it out. If we're on the phone, I'll just say it. But here's so you can see it. So here's something I want to clarify. Poor people and rich people. Okay. This is what happens. Poor people make decisions a certain way, and they change their mind a certain way. And rich people do it a certain way as well. Here's what very wealthy people have taught me, demonstrated to me, and I think this is important for our conversation. Right? This is what I'm saying to my lead. Poor people make decisions slowly, and you know what else they do? Because they change their mind quickly, they're poor. They never stick with something long enough to build anything. They make decisions slowly and change their mind quickly. The wealthy folks that I get to work with on a daily and weekly basis, you know what they do? They make decisions quickly and they change their mind slowly. Now, we have been talking for 3 weeks. You've watched 10 hours of content. I've introduced you to several people. You still haven't made a decision. If we don't address this right now, what speed are you making a decision? What are you engaged in right now? Are you making decisions the way poor people do or the way wealthy people do? With how long this has been taking, you are doing what poor people do. Well, my friend, if you keep doing what poor people do, you know what's going to keep happening? Poverty. You like it, you know it, you want it, you can afford it. Let's just move forward. And you are going to change your mind slowly, meaning you are going to stick with this program for a year, 2 years before you think that maybe this isn't for me. I don't want none of this. I'm going to try it for 30 days, 60 days, and then change my mind. That's not how it works. You want to have a solid relationship with someone. You can't be going, well, let's see how this goes for 30 days and keep changing your mind quickly. You're trying to grow a garden and you keep changing your mind about what you want to grow. That's not going to work either. Wealthy folks make a decision quickly and they change their mind slowly. So we've already established you can afford it, you want it, it's perfect for you, it fits your schedule. You met people who like it, you like the quality of the content, you trust the company, you like me. So ultimately, this is a bad habit that you have. And you want me to help you close the gap between being poor and being rich. Well, what if I bring you a deal? It says, hey, we got closing is in 3 weeks. We got 1 week to do all of our due diligence, put some money in, and we can have this property. And you take 4 weeks to decide, do you get the deal? No. So we got to get out of that habit. That's one reason why our education is so effective, because it's going to help you make more decisions quickly. So you ready to move forward? Sound fair enough? So that's something that I share with my people. Whatever it is that you share, make sure that it is relevant to them moving forward down the straight line and that you're continuing that forward momentum. You see how they try to take me off the line with this and they go, yeah, but, oh, well, I don't know. And they're trying to take me off the line with this whole, I don't know. Be like, bullshit, you do know. We've talked about it. And then I bring back my training. You see how this works? Is this making more sense? Isaac, is this helpful?
Yes, this is very helpful. Thank you.
Okay, awesome. Now I need to make a call before I get on the PAC call today. So we are going to wrap up a little bit before. What did you say to me?
I said, gold, baby.
Go, baby. Hey, are you documenting everything you're doing down there, Mike?
Yes, but there's so much. I wish I had a documentation team.
Dude, I was going to say, you could make like a whole YouTube video series on everything that you're doing.
Yeah. Definitely gathering some data.
Okay. It's time for you to be a YouTube celebrity. Lorraine, do you have a question?
Oh, gosh. No, sorry.
Okay, just checking. Okay, wonderful. Results are not typical. You got to work. Here are the cash discounted prices. Everyone's clear on this? I sent you all the link. I'll put it in the chat one more time. Nice. Oh, what the hell? Oh, that's the call I needed to make. I need to take this, folks. Mike Word, take it away.
Take it away.
Tell us what you're up to out there.
Right. Yeah, we want to hear where you're at in the world.
Yeah, celebrity, let us know what's going on.
We can't hear you.
Where
You
are
gotta unmute.
Yes, you need to tell us where you're at.
You guys are silly. I'm in Pueblo, outside of Pueblo, Colorado, and I'm building a self-sustaining house. It's basically an autonomous house, so it could be off grid completely. And we've just been out here for about a month and a half building. So it's kind of a future type of housing, construction style. And I'm just doing some, helping some people build it on their property. And this is the reason I got into Renatus and real estate, is to do eco developments. So, it's just another step closer to that stuff, y'all.
So
Make sure you videotape everything and document it for Mother Earth News Magazine. They'll probably love it.
Oh, yeah.
So
Sure.
Mike, you're using like people that own their property, so you're just building it on their property? You don't buy the land?
Right. Well, this one, I was just a consultant on this gig. So the clients, they bought the property and the land, and they funded the construction. But I have the knowledge on how to do that type of construction, and I have a network of people that, builders that can do the construction. So I just consulted on that end this time, and I helped them raise a little bit of money for the build. And so those are kind of what I did on this project. But yeah, ultimately, yeah, we want to buy raw land and develop ourselves, and develop like subdivisions more than just one resident.
Mike, we need you in Puerto Rico.
Yeah, definitely. I know I've been meaning to reach out to you, Wanda. Forgive me. My
Have the place.
reception is horrible out here too. I'm surprised that it's lasted this long. But
Hey,
So
Mike,
I've
do you
been-
mind
So
giving
are
your
all
phone
these
number,
homes
Mike?
off the grid? Whoops.
yeah, they're designed to be off the grid, so they can be. But we have this one tied into the electric grid. But the fun thing that you could do with these is in the city. I want to make these in the city where we have all these grids and tie them into the grid, but then it's an optional use. So then we can show them how we don't even use the grid power, the grid sewage, all that, and water, and show them how you can
So
just.
everything is
do it.
self-sustained. Everything is self-sustained, it sounds like.
Yeah, there's 6 main principles to the construction style, and it's really it was birthed from architecture and biology, kind of merging, a marriage between biology and architecture. So we call it biotecture, and there's 6 main principles where you recycled materials and natural building materials. So we use a lot of earth and a lot of these buildings have tires. So I wish I could walk over there. I feel like my reception would go out if I walked near the site. But
My son's been without power for 4 days, so he'd love your outfit.
yeah, So yeah, the main walls are made out of tires, rammed earth tires, and then they're plastered and buried in the earth. So they never are exposed to the earth again. But they're a monolithic structure, so you don't have to pour a footer. So you don't have to do any cement under the main load-bearing walls. And those walls also serve as a temperature battery. So they're solar and passive heating and cooling. And so in the
Wow.
wintertime, so we open the house to the south
That's
in the
awesome.
northern hemisphere, and it lets the sun in deep in the winter, and it's shallow in the summer. So in the summer, the house stays cool. In the winter, the house stays warm, and we insulate away from that temperature escaping outside of the house. And so the only place the temperature can escape is into the house, out of the walls. So it's
Oh
crazy.
my gosh.
It'll be
Hi,
like
Mike.
negative
Wow,
30
that is
degrees
awesome.
You mind
outside.
sharing your phone
70
number?
degrees. Yeah, my
And,
number is
and a
303.
website if you have it.
303
303-246-6714. I'll put it in the chat.
7. Okay. Oh, yeah, I
And
didn't
we
see
Mike,
have
you
a
that.
still do
website
music?
too.
Yeah.
Mike, what's your vision for this? Like, what are you looking to achieve?
Alpha 6714.
To do subdivisions like this where we have off-grid subdivisions and ecologically sound communities being developed. At least infrastructure wise, it's a whole nother thing to have people cooperate with each other, but I think it could be, it'll make it a lot easier for people to cooperate if their infrastructures are more sound, ecologically. So that's the idea. Do bigger and bigger ones. We have, there's models for this, so where we could do them like density. We could do dense versions of these.
Now, what size of houses are you building? I mean, are they like smaller homes or are
This
any?
one is a regular residential. It's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house. So it's about
Okay.
2,400 square feet. There's
Oh,
a
wow.
greenhouse attached to these. So, I went through two of the principles: the recycled materials, natural building materials, and then there's the heating and cooling from the solar orientation and the passive solar and the thermal mass of the house. And so that regulates the temperature and the comfort zone. But then you catch the water from the sky, and so you don't have to tap into the aquifers. And we use water from the sky, and then you recycle the water through planters in the house that grow food and filter the water and clean the sewage. And then you reuse that water for flushing your toilet, and it goes out into another septic tank, and then that overflows into more plants, and then it overflows into a leach field. So we don't waste any water either. And then, it's solar electricity and wind power for electricity right now until we come up with better technology. And then, yeah, and that's
Wow,
pretty
that
much.
is awesome.
So you
I'm surprised
grow
they're
your
using
food.
composting toilets.
We actually grow. Some of the houses had composting toilets, but it really works good to just use a septic system and then have the septic effluent overflow into another planter bed. So then we just use regular water. The houses are just like any regular house, conventional house you've ever lived in or been in, except the comfort level is on a level that it's on a level most
come
of
back
us,
and get it. Guess what?
have not experienced.
Privileges revoked.
Have you ever done any property tour on this one, Mike? In your project?
I haven't done a property tour on this one. A lot of these houses been out in the middle of nowhere. So that's another part of the challenges is getting these this type of building more accepted in the conventional realm of construction, which has a lot of lobbyists and a lot of policy and local government is tied into that politics. So we did this one out here in Pueblo and got it permitted. So it's a permitted building out here. But
ain't no party.
I'm learning that process better to go into other cities and other it's county specific to get it the coding and getting permitting to get them built legally. But a lot of times these have been built just outlaw style out in the middle of nowhere or in different countries where there's no they don't have big strong strict building codes. But the time will come where this will be more of a needed thing, and it's resistant for
It's gonna be worth the money.
seismic, like earthquakes and fires, and it because you're catching water, you're more resistant to drought. They're just more resilient way to build housing.
Right.
So it could grab on, it could not. It grabbed on for me. So
how's the cost?
This is back in the 70s too, but you couldn't get building permits. Do you have plans to retrofit existing housing?
There's ways in, a matter of fact, I just had a client reach out to me today asking if I knew a team of builders that could retrofit their house. It's a old football player for the Broncos. He's a buddy of mine that he actually came out and helped build too. I'm trying to get him involved in Renatus as well. But we can retrofit in a big part of Earthship's inspired building Biotecture is the greenhouse. So we could put greenhouses on south-facing buildings all day long, and it'll help those
Yeah, I was
buildings
gonna
more
show you the new one.
perform
Oh,
better,
the
you know,
other one. Oh, no, there's
temperature-wise.
another one right here.
Can we
So,
pause a second?
I have
Hey,
that one.
Johnson.
Mike, you don't do music no more, bro?
yeah, I do.
Okay, okay.
That's, you know, yeah, I make music. But you know, another way we could retrofit stuff is like just sewage treatment. So we can do like greenhouses on rooftops and send all the sewage to the rooftops to be treated, and then you know, so there's ways to use these biotecture principles and just do retrofitting principle, you know, techniques on existing structures, and that'll help the earth, you know, that'll help the planet, and you know, communities and governments, local
Talking about
governments
having
hit these environmental goals
compost
they
and
have for
septic
the next
tanks.
10 years.
Bobby Johnson, will you please mute?
Fill the plant.
Bobby Johnson, can you please mute?
Yeah.
Mike, what was your strategy in acquiring this? Did you like raise funds, or how'd you go about it?
Say that again, sorry.
I was saying, what was your strategy in acquiring these properties? Like, did you raise funds for that?
Oh,
or
for this
money, or
for this property, it's not my property. I'm just the consultant on it. So my clients, they found the property, and I just consulted on, you know, if it's a good place to build. Because I also have permaculture training. I'm a permaculture designer, so ecological design. I've been trained on how to develop human settlement that's, you know, in alignment with the forces of nature, you know, the basic forces of nature. So I know how to develop human settlement in that capacity. And again, like I said, this is why I got involved in Renatus, is so I have more of a financial IQ to use the combination of capital, you know, human capital, financial capital, relationship capital, all these different forms of capital, and put them into systems, you know, for human settlement. So, but this one was just a kind of a practice run, consulting with other people's property, you know.
So basically, Mike, you're doing what Michael Huggins is doing, like, you know, his Tennessee property, the one that's 200 acres. Okay.
Yeah, me and Michael have been buddies for a few years, and and we've been rubbing off on each other, you know.
Very
So this is what happens, you know. This is the results of the mastermind that we have. Is that you know, my financial IQ is elevated tremendously, and Michael's you know, ecological IQ has enhanced a lot too. So, you know, yeah, it's kind of just timing. And Michael found this property, and we've been chatting about growing food and building cool houses and developing like ecological retreats and, you know, eco villages and eco developments. And, you know, Michael it just happened to be good timing, and he found some property while we're having these type of conversations. And so it's all together, you know, it's all mastermind. So
where did you get all this information to be able to go out and build eco places like this?
You know, a big movement is called the permaculture movement. And permaculture was created by this man named Bill Mollison. It's an ancient thing. It's just basically it's protocols based off patterns in nature that we use to make decisions and solve problems. It's basically what we learn in Renatus, except for all the other aspects of life, you know, like water systems and energy systems and food systems and waste systems. So, you know, how Renatus trains us around financial systems, the permaculture trains us around all those other systems that are, you know, essential for us as well. So just having all, you know, that's really what drew me to it, is being a part of cutting edge movements where we're learning about how to steward systems. And, you know, so permaculture and Renatus is no different. They're, you know, they're movements that we're a part of that help us to more responsibly steward the systems involved in those movements. And so, yeah, that's how I got involved and got access to all this information. And for me, it was a natural progression. What's that?
I think you're gonna be the next instructor teaching about this.
You silly. You know, that is one of my goals with Renatus is to be an instructor on how to do eco developments. So we'll see. You know, maybe it works. You know, I put it out there now. You guys can hold me to the fire.
There you go.
But, yeah.
We're backing you up, my friend.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
How's the cost, Mike, with the traditional building compared to this one? I know with the material, you're probably using, you know, different materials. So how is it in comparison with, you know, building a 3-2 house compared to this your project?
Yeah, you know, that's a great question. And it really depends on the client. So if in this scenario, the client is heavily involved in all the aspects of the build. And so they're being able to cut their costs pretty much in half, right? $250, $300 a square foot is about average, right? Nationwide to build a house. And they're getting their 3-2 built for about $125, $150 a square foot. So they're, you know, that's because they've sourced a lot of materials with us, and we've salvaged a lot of materials. We found a lot of recycled materials. You know, they have materials on their property already, like a lot of the earth, a lot of dirt we've been using is just on the property. So, you know, it just depends, but you could save a lot depending on the client, if they're highly involved in the process or not. If it's, you know, just hands off, it could easily be just, you know, equivalent to a conventional ground up build. But then the savings comes on the back end because you're not paying utility bills year in and year out, month in, month out. You end up saving hundreds of thousands of dollars over the course of a decade just in utility savings. So in the long run, you're saving money regardless. And then for developers, so us coming in, developing raw land, we don't have to install as much infrastructure, which is a huge cost. If you guys have watched any of those classes, you know that, you know, coming in and bringing in all the lines that you need to do a community is a lot of money. And with this type of building, it's not, you don't have to do it. So it's just a matter of getting it past the county and letting them, you know, getting the permission to put a subdivision up with without a bunch of
I have a
infrastructure.
question for you.
Which is,
Yes.
Okay, so my question is, financially, how are you able to live off the grid? Are you like bartering?
No, you know, no. It's for us, people like us that are involved in online education, sales, and it's perfect for us. You know, you can still do your businesses. You can, you know, there's definitely a lot of things when you're starting to get into ecological development where you're localizing a lot of your resource acquisition, but you know, ultimately you don't have, you know, doesn't have to be a change in our economic system completely. It will, you know, there are adjustments that will inevitably go on, but yeah, I know people living off grid that, you know, they just make their money online and they're still doing good.
Hey, Mike. My name's Nancy. Did I hear you say something about putting the sewage on the roof? Can you explain that?
It's in planters. So we run the sewage, we run the gray water through planter beds, which they're just basically constructed wetlands, indoor constructed wetlands.
Black water.
And it's gray water is where we initially feed the plants, and then black water is, you know, that's all the water from your sink, your kitchen sink, and your toilets, and that goes into the septic tank and it processes and breaks down, all the solids break down into liquid, and then that overflows into another planter bed. And so these are all lined with rubber lining, like rubber pond lining, and then there's layers of different median, like sand, and then we put rocks in some places, and the topsoils, and sometimes we put like a fabric, like a landscape fabric cloth. But yeah, you know, it just makes a biological filter. Instead of having, you know, some big tank or something, you just hold that wastewater in the ground, in the earth, but it's lined so it doesn't go it doesn't go into the water table and pollute the water table. So you're able to contain this sewage and treat it with the plants, and it cleans it. And yeah, it's just a real smart way to reuse water and to use more of the resources that we create in our systems. You know, so that's what all pollution is unused resources. So we got all this pollution in America, you know, people creating all this waste, and in nature, that concept doesn't exist. The excrement from one species is the food for another, all across the board. So, you know, that's all we're doing now with this is it's an approach to living where you find ways to utilize the byproducts of your processes. So you're utilizing more and more of the energy and less energy leaks, just like in our Renatus training, less money leaks. So it's the same thing with this. You're just creating systems where all the energy circulates it back into the system instead of just leaking away from it. And that's so using your waste is another form of that. And you could grow food with it. And yeah, but you have to be aware of what you put in your body to begin with. You can't just be feeding off all the chemical junk that, you know, is posing as food.
Right. So the black water you put in a lined, you know, holding area, and then how do you get it out to fertilize the plants?
Yeah, that's a good question. It's all gravity fed if possible. So you know, you have your highest point where you catch the water on the roof, and then it goes into water tanks, and then the water tanks feed into the house, right? And then the house there's a little water system that organizes the water where it sends it through some filters and a pump and a pressure tank, and then that sends it through your house. And then you use the water, let's say just all the water except the kitchen water and your toilet water, right? You're using all that water. So you take a shower, you do your laundry, you wash your hands in your bathroom sink. All that water goes into the planter. So it goes deeper down into the planter. And then the planter, you know, feeds off of it. And then the excess water from that sits in a little well. And then that gets pumped up into your toilet. So you get that water pumped up into your toilet, and then you flush the water from your toilet, and gravity feeds back down into a septic tank. And then the septic tank, when it overflows, it has an overflow, and then that feeds into the next planter bed downhill as well, down gravity. So it all ideally is gravity fed, the whole system. So you're not using a lot of energy. That's why I do these buildings, and I've been involved in this, because you don't have to be an engineer or gone to like 10 years of architecture school, or, you know, be a physicist to build your own house, and to understand these really magical phenomenons that happen in nature that occur in our bodies and in, you know, in the nature and food and plant communities. And you don't have to be a genius. You don't have to be an extra smart person to understand these processes. Just like just like Renatus, just like our financial stuff. You don't have to be some crazy genius. You just have to do certain things, right? Like the Science of Getting Rich book says, you got to do certain things, and then you get the certain results from the process.
So just two more questions about that. What smell, and do you ever have to have it emptied?
The septic tank is outside the building, first off. And no, you know, my teacher, Mike Reynolds, who came up with this building style, he has some septic tanks that he built 30 years ago that he's never had to pump.
Wow.
Because your lifestyle is more focused on wellness and health, so you're eating better to begin with. So then when your waste goes out and it's in that system, it breaks. There's a lot more bioactivity. So, you know, and also remember all that gray water. So all that water that you just wash your body and you wash your clothes and your hands and with, And that goes into that planter with all those plants and all that bioactivity happening in the soil, cleaning the water. That water, when you pump it up into your toilet, it's bio enhanced. So when you flush that water away with your poop, with your waste into the septic tank, it's breaking down at a faster rate than if it were just a regular septic tank and you're pumping it full of chemicals and it's a way different. It's a way faster biological breakdown process happening. So your septic tank is, you're processing a lot more waste than a regular septic tank with just chemicals. And if your diet is high in artificial ingredients, and it might be different. You might have to get the septic tank pumped. But if you're living a clean lifestyle, it's highly likely you'll never have to pump the septic tank. And there's no smell because it's buried in the ground and it's contained. It's all contained sewage treatment. The process that we bring the water through the house until its final resting place outside in the planter beds of the black water, it's all contained sewage. So this is another thing that could do wonders for the planet in terms of how water sanitation, that's the #1 cause for a lot of death in the planet. And so just having contained sewage treatment could do how Nate goes out there to Cambodia and does the wells. We could be going out to Cambodia and doing stuff like this too.
I got to wrap it up, guys. Thank you very much. With that being said, let's go out there and change the world, right? Education is the ultimate weapon. So keep educating people, get educated. And for those of you on the straight line persuasion train with me, we'll see you guys in the morning for the script building workshop. Cool.
Thank you very much, Michael. Thank you, Mike.
Have an awesome one, everyone.
Thank you guys.
Awesome.
All right,
Thank you,
everybody. Take care.
Michael. Thank you
Thanks,
both,
everyone.
Thank you,
Michaels.
everybody.